Joining me now for his first interview since that hearing is a journalist you just heard testify on Capitol Hill, journalist Matt Taibbi. Matt, thanks a lot for your time. I really appreciate it. I've been very concerned about this symbiosis between these NGOs, government, and the FBI, and censorship. Through your work at the Twitter Files, how exactly does it work, which results in content being pulled down?
Well, originally what we thought was going on was that only the FBI and DHS and maybe a few other agencies were directly telling companies like Twitter to pull down a few accounts here and there. But as time went on, we learned that actually there's a whole complex of organizations and NGOs. A lot of them are state-funded. Some of them are entirely state-funded, that are sending huge lists of names to these companies, and that's the primary route by which people are taken off places like Twitter or Facebook or any social media site.
Matt, libertarian-leaning conservatives like myself have long been concerned about things like the Patriot Act, because what happens is, I think what you saw, and correct me if I'm wrong with the Twitter Files, where it starts as, hey, we're trying to get rid of foreign interference in elections, and it morphs into, Joey Bag of Donuts on the corner makes a tweet about the vaccine and finds himself, in the doghouse. I mean, am I wrong in that analysis?
No, that's absolutely the correct analysis, because this effort actually began with counterterrorism in 2015, then it progressed to Russian foreign interference in 2016, 2017. And then next thing you knew, it was domestic violent extremism. And then what we found just this week, we found memos talking about the desire to strike down true stories of vaccine side effects or true stories that might encourage vaccine hesitancy. So they went from counterterrorism to going after true material within the space of a couple of years. So it's a small group of people at first, and now it's a really, really big pool of people that they're looking at.
Matt, I want to play for you this quick clip. Obviously, you were there, you've seen it, but the audience may not have. You're the one who exposed this malfeasance, and stunningly, you became the focus of their ire. Here, take a look.
If we can take off the tinfoil hat, that there's not a vast conspiracy.
Are you being paid to be here today, either through consulting fees, campaign contribution to your next run?
Data was given to these so-called journalists before Snap.
I'm not a so-called journalist. I've won the National Magazine Award, the I.F. Stone Award for Independent Journalism, and I've written 10 books, including 4 New York Times bestsellers.
Matt, this is disgusting. Tinfoil cap. You were paid off. You're a so-called journalist, despite a resume to die for. That had to bother you personally.
Well, I expected that, but I think the thing that's extraordinary about what happened to both me and to Michael Schellenberger, the other witness, is they would never treat a New York Times reporter like that or a Washington Post reporter like that and suggest that it was somehow, wrong for a reporter to make money, which came out during the hearing. They asked me if I'd been paid to testify, which was totally outrageous. They called us a direct threat to people who oppose them. That's very ominous language for the government to talk about with regard to journalists. And again, they would never do that with somebody they considered one of their own, a typical mainstream reporter. I think that was very, very disturbing what happened yesterday.
Matt, I don't know your politics. Frankly, I don't care. But I know you're a journalist, not a so-called journalist. And I really want to thank you. It's guys like you that are going to save this space, the journalism space. Thanks for your time.
Thanks so much, Dan. I appreciate it.